But let's bring him in here now, man. I want to talk to Utku and see what's going on with Paribu. Utku, welcome to the show, man.
Welcome to the show.
Guys. Hey guys, how are you? This is an amazing like concept. I love it already.
Oh, thank you so much.
I love the music. I like the weather channel a little bit at the beginning. And now, like with all the Dexalot updates, amazing updates, like I don't even have to do the monthly review,
So I just wanted to make the job easy. I just wanted to give you all the sound bites. Our producer.
I've been taking notes.
Our producer will give you some YouTube shorts, even probably, right?
Yep.
We used to do a section here called speedrun. We haven't done one in a while.
We got to bring that back.
Yeah, we got to bring that back. Where
was that?
These guys would pick a concept relating to trading or exchanges or liquidity, whatever that may be, and they would start a timer, and I have to explain it in 60 seconds.
We do a Firestorm speedrun every week.
Speedrun.
Yeah, bring speedrun back. Chat's already saying it. I agree with chat. Bring speedrun back. I totally agree.
Maybe we'll do one.
You did custodial versus non-custodial. You explained the Dexalot incentive program. I mean,
algorithmic execution, stuff like that. Yeah.
This guy had some really heady concepts. Because look, I'm the noob of the team, right? I'm very new, right? And so it would usually be something that like I was confused on, like, hey, Firestorm, I need you to break this down, and then he would do it in 60 seconds. That was where kind of the idea came from, right? And so,
yeah, I mean, that means like he knows his shit, right?
That's what I'm saying. Exactly, man. Exactly. We love it. So,
every now and then, somebody in the community says I didn't do a good job. So the jury is still out.
I mean, there are always haters on the crypto Twitter, so don't worry about that.
That's true. I think it's usually somebody internally that's just trying to mess with Firestorm, though. I think that might be what's going on. It might be Jonathan. It's probably Jonathan. He's not here, so we can talk shit.
It is possible.
Just kidding. But Utku, it's great to have you on the show, man. Director of Paribu Ventures. And if you wouldn't mind, just to get started, starts with a T. The axolotl is in here, starts with a T.
What is that?
Tim Chan watching right now? Tim, are you in the chat? We're having fun at Tim's expense. All right. Well, anyway, Utku, back to you, man. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get started with your background. Like, how did you get into crypto, and how did you get connected with Paribu? And let's just start there.
Yep. I mean, my background up until like I met crypto, I would say like is as traditional as it gets.
Sure.
I went to college in the States. Then I started working in investment banking, and then I went to NYU Stern for my MBA. Did a little bit more investment banking, and I went back to Turkey. I did private equity. I did venture capital, and I joined a startup in the meantime, before the VC stuff. And that was like, I think it was in 2017, in the whole like crazy days of ICOs and like, like Ethereum, and like, we have new apps like coming up every day. But I was never like to be honest, like never in the like money side of it. Like I was just like, someone curious trying to understand what is this, like what is Bitcoin, what is Ethereum, what is this, like this distributed networks, what do they do? And at that time, my conviction was that like this is something like this is potentially a very important like advancement in the technology space. And as a venture capitalist, like I'll see more of these in the next few years. So I have to get smart about it. I have to learn about it. So that's why I started focusing on it, but more like a side job. I was in a VC at that time, but our focus was like SaaS and more traditional stuff, I would say.
Sure.
But then there was a point in my life that like I was spending more time like trying to learn like the crypto space. I was like waking up at these weird hours to join some AMAs, like I was like constantly reading like white papers. And I was at that moment, like I was like, yeah, I am 40 and I think I may change my career. And that's what happened. Like basically like a couple of months later, I got a call from like Paribu HR team. They were talking about like they were thinking about like starting this new fund. would I be interested? I was like, at first I was like, am I gonna work for a centralized exchange? I was too in the like decentralized like ethos.
Yeah.
But then I was like, no, and then I met the founder. He's like super inspiring and like he very like has a very good vision and basically like okay, when I can start, and that was like 2 years ago, and so yeah, since then, like that's pretty much what we do every day.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's awesome, man. That's
Yeah.
kind of I feel that. I definitely feel that.
That is actually a pretty good story. And as much as we are a decentralized exchange, we still have like the biggest problem in crypto. I think there's two big problems. One is the user experience side. Second is the onboarding and offboarding, right? If you actually talk to a lot of crypto maxis, let's call them, particularly on the Bitcoin side, they're going to talk about a world where you only use Bitcoin. But let's be real, that's not today. And
Yeah.
today you need access to this ecosystem. And the most important sort of access providers are the centralized exchanges. Like we have no sort of illusions around that. It may improve, it may change over the next course of the few years. But I'm going to go ahead and say, Paribu is one of the good guys, right? Like, you guys are like the, top, one of the top exchanges in Turkey. And we've seen a lot of exchanges that like disappear overnight and take customer stuff. And Paribu's still around. Paribu, I've never actually seen anything about Paribu that's negative. So props.
I mean,
to
like
you.
just maybe like just a couple of points. First, like I mean, I don't think it's about crypto specifically, but I mean, in technology, we always have this like binary sort of thinking. Like we always think about like zeros and ones, but I believe in a hybrid world. Like, so I don't think there will be a moment where like everything will be decentralized or everything will be centralized. Like we'll probably end up in a like hybrid space, and like there will be like there's 8 billion people in the world, so people will have different preferences. So I think that debate, or I don't know, like maybe it's not even a debate anymore, but like I'm sure there are people like this still. So that's one of the things that really doesn't like I don't really feel comfortable in that debate. And to your second point, Paribu, I think so. I think we have to look at the Turkish story of crypto. I mean, I always like give this example when I talk to people. Like if we are in like top charts in two categories, one of them is gaming, and second one is crypto, and like we just recently published a crypto report, and I mean the numbers are still super strong. I mean, there are millions of people who are every day touching cryptos like some way, like one way or another, either through like exchanges like us or like or like decentralized exchanges like Dexalot, or like NFTs, games. Like Turkish community is definitely like into this space, and of course, if we can double click on that, like there are a couple of reasons. Like obviously the economy supports this trend, and I don't know, like I'm not 100% sure it's because of the high inflation or because of the like the volatility in the currency, but more so it's like, I mean, there are not a lot of like investment opportunities, and that can somehow give these people like some sort of like a better future, and they see crypto like that, and I think that's fair. I mean, so, and I think the other reason is that Turkish, we have a very high penetration of like smartphones. Like we have a very young population, very digital, like very used to digital stuff. Like we are again top charts in like TikTok usage, like Facebook usage or Meta usage. Like we are very like we are very familiar with these type of new technologies, and I think one of the reasons why Turkey is always in these top charts is because of that. And I think, to your point, Firestorm, having these reputable exchanges like Paribu in the ecosystem for those off ramps and on ramps, I think we support the blockchain space as well. So I always want to look at this from an ecosystem perspective. I mean, we all need these players. Like, we all serve different personas maybe, but at the end of the day, we all need each other. And yeah, I mean, I may like go on, but I want to leave some of my talking points for a later time, because I mean, I want to also discuss like what Paribu is doing on the decentralized space too. I think that's really important to underline.
So first of all, we love talkative guests, right? If you want to talk and shut us up, that's okay.
Definitely.
You are the guest. This is your show as much as ours,
yes.
Right? So by all means, please. I want to harp on one thing you said, and like, it is so true. I've tried to sort of say almost the same thing at one of the panels we did at Avalanche Summit. Humans, in general, resist change, right? That's just our nature. Like, once you learn something, once you know something, once you've done something for a certain amount of time, changing from that comfortable thing to a new thing is extremely difficult, right? It's just, how we are wired, I think. And Web3, blockchain, cryptos basically represent a massive paradigm shift on how value gets transferred, how value gets custodied, etc. Right? And it's very difficult to bring people from where they are today to the most degen fringes of DeFi right now, right? There is too much risk. There is too much unknown. People don't know how to take care of their keys. People don't understand the risks, yada, yada, yada. Therefore, I completely agree with you where the world that we're going towards, I think, is going to sort of stabilize and find that equilibrium point where it is the middle of centralization and decentralization. It's not going to be completely decentralized. I don't think it's going to be completely centralized. And particularly for institutional adoption, like if you think about these large institutions that are supposed to come in and provide their traditional finance services equivalent in the decentralized landscape or Web3, they need to migrate their processes, their systems, and even migrating a Web2 process to a newer Web2 process at a large institution takes like 3 to 10 years, right? Therefore, bringing that activity over to, again, the end of the spectrum on the decentralized side, I think is just like not feasible in our careers, I'm going to say. I could be wrong, but that's how I view it. So therefore, I think the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle where the user experience is good. Centralization and decentralization is an underlying technological choice of the service provider or the application, but the end user in the end is not going to care, right? The end user just needs to get the best possible price, best possible usage, best possible utility, whatever that may be. So,
I mean, completely agree with you there.
Yeah. So I guess let's talk a little bit about ventures, right? I know that Paribu obviously is the exchange, but then you're focused on the ventures. What are the top verticals that you are looking at right now? What do you think pushes the space forward the most at the moment?
Yeah. I mean, just maybe like going back like a couple of lines backwards. So we are like the venture arm of the central exchange, and the central exchange itself is like 6.5 million retail users, provide at the moment only spot trading, and like more like it changes obviously every day, but like it has a like almost like $100 million like daily trading volume. So it's a substantial platform. So we are basically like founded under the like strong balance sheet of that of that parent entity. So we have only one LP, which is Paribu, and we have allocated like $30 million funds. And at the beginning, we didn't really choose to focus on one vertical. We wanted to become more like vertical agnostic, but we always wanted to like seek for right teams with the right ideas that we can potentially collaborate. And that's where it comes, like what we want to do in the blockchain space. We've been known with our central exchange product since we were launched in 2017. But in the meantime, we have a very strong blockchain engineering team internally that built an EVM compatible chain, which we are now thinking about like what we can do to make it more scalable and like maybe move it towards like a more like crowded ecosystem. So that's one thing that we are working on. At the same time, we have a self-custody MPC wallet that is in production, closed beta to be precise. We've been always like since the beginning doing our custody ourselves, so we don't rely on third parties, and we are now productizing that, and so that we can offer it to third parties, to financial institutions. And we have another team that is more focused on the blockchain tools. We build an explorer and indexer and like a lot of like other primitives that can be built around that, so that like a Web3 company or like a regular enterprise, when they want to do something with the blockchain space, we can be their partner. So we are building all these things at the same time. So at the end of the day, we want to become a blockchain development, like blockchain technology company. And what we decided, and like that's the vision of the founder, to do that, like we have to start talking to these people, like meeting them, because we were just like in our local environment in Turkey, but there were a lot of things happening outside of us. So that's how we started. We were more like these ambassadors of Paribu, like around the world, and that's how we started meeting new teams, new projects, and we started like investing in them. And so at the beginning, as I said, like it wasn't like we didn't have a vertical focus, but what happened is like we thought that like to your point earlier, like the blockchain needs a use case. It needs a smooth UX and UI, and eventually like the whoever is coming to this platform or to this app doesn't even have to know about like the blockchain, like doesn't even have to hear about blockchain or crypto, because they have to come for that specific app, for that specific use case. And we thought that gaming is one of those areas where that adoption can happen fast. I mean, we only need like one Valorant or like League of Legends that is working on blockchain, and there you go, like you have like 100 million daily active users, like, so that change can happen very quickly if the game is right, if the UX is right, there is no friction onboarding people, so we started looking at like those gaming investments. At the beginning, we did like a couple of token investments, which we realized that like were not the right way of entering this gaming space. So we changed our tactics a little bit. Like, so we started looking at like more equity deals. And so we did do like equity investments in total. I may be wrong, but I think we closed around like 8 to 9 gaming plus gaming infrastructure deals out of 19 investments. So with that, like we became like more focused on gaming. And another reason for that is, as I like mentioned earlier, like we have a very big gaming community. Like we have a lot of gamers, but also we have a lot of gaming developers. Like a few of the unicorns that we created, I mean, 70% are gaming studios. So there is that in the technology space in Turkey. Like we have this like tradition of like, you know, good gaming companies, good game developers, and so we want to tap into that talent. And so yeah, like but as I said, like the other investments that we made, they were intentionally made like because at some point Paribu can be a customer. Paribu can be like can be their customer, you know, like, so we thought about that too. Or Paribu can use their services to build its own products. So that's why we did a lot of like those type of investments as well. In that regard, we acted almost like a venture capital, like a corporate VC, and we deployed around $6-7 million out of that fund. And I mean, we are not in a hurry to deploy because we don't have an LP to answer to, or I mean, or we don't have to raise another round to make us like, you know, sustainable. So we are in that way more like relaxed, and we can take our time. And I mean, we didn't stop investing, or we didn't have such a decision, but at the same time, in the last couple of months, as you can imagine, with the markets the way they are, and I mean, even though like we didn't stop looking, the supply of startups diminished substantially.
I was going to ask that, like,
yeah,
what is the ideal, and like, first of all, the fact that you guys are not under a specific time pressure, I think is a big edge versus other sort of venture funds, VC funds, because VC funds, you know, they have a lockup typically for their LPs, and then they have to return a certain amount within a certain period of time, right? Like
there's statistical like you know, cases where like the last 3 investments that the fund deploys, you know, like they usually go bad.
Yes.
You know, because they have to do that investment, you know, to close it so
Right.
they can raise the other one.
Yeah.
So yeah, not having those type of pressures is really like really nice.
And from your experience, you guys have been around, you said 2017 or so, right? From
Yep.
your experience from 2017 to now, when was the best time to find good projects, good builders, and, you know, have the ability to invest? You know, this isn't a question we asked other people before, but it would be great to get your perspective, just because you lived through multiple cycles and your perspective is different.
I mean, this is my complete first cycle, to be honest, like when I was in crypto space. And I mean, I don't want to sound like a cliche, but I think I'm sure the best times will be these times to invest. That's for sure. And you can feel it, because like even the conversations that I'm having right now with the founders, I mean, like they're in a good mood. They know they are building something good. They don't harass you like for closing the deal, you know. They have some, you know, like maybe angel investments, or they use their own funds to weather the storm. So like, but they are focused on building the product, creating like POCs. So like at the beginning when I joined, like that was like the like fall 2021. I mean, the craziest days of crypto. And like I remember like going into the meetings, and like these guys are like very arrogantly like asking for a term sheet next day. I'm like, what I like, you know, like we went through those those things, and you know, like we are these new guys in the street, you know, nobody knows us, nobody cares about us. So we had that kind of like you know, approach as well. And I mean, it's okay. But now like you can have more productive conversations, you can know these teams better. I mean, we invest at an early stage, so we don't have too much to do due diligence per se, but like, So we have to understand the team, the structure of the team, like how they work together, So we had these opportunities in this winter, let's say, to like kind of dive into those type of things that we never had to do it, and we never had the opportunity to do it. And so like I feel more comfortable when I make an investment decision now, and like I build more like robust relationships with the teams. I can be more helpful for them, and like, and since they don't have these crazy I don't want to call stupid money, but they don't have these like VCs calling them every second. They don't get the hype of like, of raising their valuation or like, closing the deal right away. They are also they become more like realistic, and like they, I think, appreciate this type of relationship more. And so yeah, I think I mean, like basically whenever is everyone like going away from a space, like I think it's the right time for because the noise is now like is not there. Like we are more like, let's say, I don't want to call myself smart, but like smart people talking to each other. I think it makes more sense. And
I want to say one thing before you move on. Like the biggest thing that I personally observed is that the older school VC model, where people that invest in you build that relationship, give you support, and stay with you for a longer time, versus during the crazy times, as you say, people would try to throw money as quickly as possible, and then they disappear, and then they come back at TGE, blah, 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 right? Like the crypto sort of TGE and initial unlock, etc. model has created this weird hybrid and very non-traditional thing that I think hurt a lot of projects and hurt a lot of VCs, right? Because, like there were a lot of names out there that would like disappear, right? Like they wouldn't stay with the project for long term. They weren't accessible. They wouldn't provide the advice that typical old school venture capital firms, and really, for a lack of another word, incubators, if you will, or sort of help funds used to do. And I think this cycle was sort of a cleansing cycle, both for projects and VCs. And like you said, the guys who have been taking their time, who have not given up the sort of prudence in their process, are still around. They're still working with projects. They're still trying to push the space forward. And the same goes for projects, right? So, I really like that approach. And that was my biggest observation. A lot of the guys that you used to see are no longer around. And some of the guys that you've always been seeing but haven't been so aggressive during the bull market are still around. And they're actually now investing heavily, I think.
Yeah. I mean, at the beginning, we were more also focused on the app layer rather than the infrastructure layer. Meaning like, because that was where we were more we were stronger, I would say, because like, I mean, at the end of the day, if Paribu is a B2C company, we know that go to market strategy better than like a lot of people. So that's why we thought that like the app layer is interesting. That's, I mean, and we also like focused on like not only B2C names, but at the same time, like any projects that's kind of catered to B2C companies, like a loyalty management or like a loyalty management SaaS type of thing, or like a cohort learning project. So we made those type of investments like at the beginning, and now maybe like the infrastructure layer, like the investments that go there, like maybe saturated. So there, I feel like I talk to more infrastructure deals right now, which I love more, like when it comes to investing. And I feel like that's because like people, there are like also those shifts like in the VC cycle, like people look at app layers, infrastructure layers. Some of them are really consistent, but some of them change with cycles. And I believe I believe in creating a more like hybrid portfolio, and so that's why now, like, the last couple of deals that we are talking are mostly definitely on the infrastructure layer. That and I feel like they may be they may have a like strong return potential eventually.
Makes a lot of sense. We have a question, by the way. Zane
Sure.
Cypher actually asked this. Paribu is one of the investors of Dexalot, so I wonder what were the main points that led you to invest in Dexalot? No show is complete without like a proper shill of Dexalot, I guess.
Got to
So
do it.
would be amazing if you can like walk people through, what your thought process and what made Dexalot stand out to you guys.
I mean, first off, like, I'm not gonna make a big monologue, but I think the founding team is really, really robust. Like, they're like, I mean, old school, but at the same time, they know their business. Like, when you talk to people that worked on Wall Street, that come to this space, I mean, that kind of gives you some confidence because they know what to do. Like, they've been in this business for a long time. They've seen the potential of the blockchain technology, and now they're bringing that expertise to this ecosystem. I think that's very important. That brain transfer, I would say. And so the team was like, for a DeFi project, was like one of the most, I mean, I would say, how, I don't want to sound like wrong here, but very like, proper, and like very, let's say,
Not degen, right?
not
degen
degen,
so much.
not degen, but that's what I like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's how it should be. Like, I want to trust my money with those type of people, to be honest. and then the technology itself, like, all these like AMMs and everything, like to your earlier point, like, that requires such a big mental shift, right? I mean, for people to understand that, like, I'm sure like people will understand, of course, like, they serve a big like big chunk of the DeFi at the moment, but at the same time, like, the trade is like, from like everyone's perspective, probably is like on an order book. And so we are an order book company, right? Like Paribu itself. So we know that business, and I think the implications of that happening on the blockchain, I think it's very huge. And I think eventually, with all these scalability problems solved, there will be like a big part of the they'll be big part of the like they will be big part of the DeFi. That's for sure. And obviously, we trust in Avalanche. Like, that's another reason. And I feel like I almost feel like Dexalot success is correlated with Avalanche's success, and I believe in that team. I think they have a very strong team. So I think when I look at that, the team, the product, and the ecosystem that is built, I think they were all like goals for us. So we went ahead and joined the round. I mean, we joined at the very last stage, so unfortunately we didn't get enough allocation. Those were the days, right? I mean, you couldn't get the allocations.
Yes. Yeah, quite honestly, like, those times are very difficult to figure out what's going on, right? And that was before the subnet, that was before the launch of everything, etc. And hell of a time, I'm gonna say. But we made a lot of progress since then. So
yeah, like, I remember, like, it was almost like the darling of Avalanche ecosystem, Dexalot, and it is still so, maybe, like, I'm not sure. But so that's also like always a positive thing, right? I mean, because you invest in that project, in that ecosystem, and on top of it, that ecosystem supports you like so well, that kind of gives you a great edge.
100% agreed. So I guess we had a nice chat so far. before we let you go, do you mind just talking to us about some of the projects that excite you as well? Like, what are the projects that you would want to highlight, whether it's in your portfolio or not, up to you? Like, what are what are the ones that you would recommend people go check out?
Most of the projects that we have invested at the moment, they are unfortunately like at the very early stage. So none of them have a product that I can tell viewers to go and check. But if you let me, like in the next few months, I can definitely
come back.
I can come back and talk more about that.
We're all about second, third, and fourth rounds in certain conditions. So by all means, we'd love to have you back.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything that you would like to talk about? I know I've been asking all the questions, but you mentioned in the beginning of the conversation that there were some points you wanted to make.
Well, I made those.
Oh, okay. All right. Just want to make sure.
Because I wanted to underline that we're not only a central exchange.
Of course.
And people, they're right that they assume this because that's the only product that we have out there at the moment.
Yeah.
But more is coming. And we'll our approach to this is and I really want to underline our vision in this space is we believe in this hybrid world. We believe that for blockchain to be adopted, we don't have to understand. We have to stop talking about protocol level stuff because everyone uses emails, right? And nobody knows which protocol is behind that email. They just click send and that goes, and nobody even cares how it goes.
Wait. But we're gonna talk about L1s, L0s, L2s, and L4s. Come on.
That's just too confusing, and that will never be understood. So we believe that we have to create these tools, or we have to support these tools that make this ecosystem as seamless, as frictionless as possible.
Sure.
And that's why, and we believe that our users, with that mentality shift happening, may ask for more decentralized services, more self-custody. So that's why we're building these products. At the end of the day, our self-custody wallet will not be accountable for for the seed phrases, obviously, but we want to put our name behind that, so that people, so that people at least will trust that brand name. They know that Paribu is there. Paribu's office is here. Paribu's CEO is here. So we have that's, as I said, as you also pointed out, we will have a lot of different company types, but at the end of the day, having these types ourselves, putting our name and everything out there, and facing all these consumers, these 1 billion users, we'll be their first, we'll be their first, try and error place. Sure. We'll get the heat, and then we'll leave them to you.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And I love your point about non-binary thinking earlier, by the way. I do definitely agree with that. I think there's solutions on hand if you want to think outside the box.
The maxi cults, bro. Come on, things are moving, things are changing. You got to be adaptive. That's the one thing that never changes about life. What yesterday may no longer be true today, and probably is not going to be true tomorrow. So
yep,
it's true, man. Luke Skywalker went through his whole life without knowing Darth Vader is his father. You know what I mean? It's crazy. But Utku, thank you so much for joining us today, man. This is awesome.
Thank you guys. That was
really
awesome.
Had a blast talking with you. Before we let you go, though, I think you know what I'm going to ask.
I know.
We wanted to try to get a song request from you because I'm going to do some DJing to take us out.
Actually, before that, you made some interesting point. I want to ask this for the audience. How do people reach out to you, Utku? How should people reach out to Paribu Ventures? I think we should probably, because we didn't share any Twitter or anything. Normally we do, but how would people talk to you?
Yeah, I think our Twitter handle is @Paribu Ventures, and we can definitely receive like people's messages from there. And I don't know, like I can give you my email address or something if you want.
Yes. Okay. Well, we won't share that on the video, but sounds good.
Yeah, and
Well,
I also
well-
like my Twitter handle is again like at Utku Dorduncu.
Yeah,
So-
I'll just post it in the. Hold on one second. I got it.
Yeah. Normally, like we post these
yeah,
on
we
the
usually have this.
show message. Yeah.
Production, what's going on, man? What's Hold on one second, Utku. I got you. There we go. Here we go. Here you can follow Utku on Twitter. I just posted his Twitter on
Thanks.
the in the chat there. Oh, there we go. Production.
There
bring
you
it
go.
in. There we
Production
There
is
it
working.
goes. All right. We got a top-notch producer, man. Don't let anybody tell you different.
Oh yeah. That's producer for sure.
Yes, dude. He's the best.
So I've been
Well-
thinking about your question.
Oh yeah. Okay. I was gonna get guys.
I
was gonna
gave you
get a
some
song
extra
request.
time just to make it easy.
Yeah. He was
Yeah.
giving Firestorm his cover.
And like there's one song that I keep listening like every day. I have a 6-year-old daughter. She loves this song, and thanks to her, I started loving this song as well. And you'll make her happy as well if you put something like if you put your spin on it. Watermelon Sugar High.
Okay, I don't know that one, but I'm like I've been off the
Harry
radio
Styles.
for years at this point. What is it?
Harry Styles.
Oh, Harry Styles. All right. Hold on a second. Production,
Watermelon
can you hook me
Sugar
up with Harry
High.
Styles' Watermelon song, please? And we'll play that we'll get that in the mix for you, man. I can't wait.
Watermelon Sugar. I think the exact name.
Watermelon Sugar. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I used to be a club DJ and a radio DJ. So that was what in a former life, that was what I did before Dexalot. So Harry Styles, Watermelon Sugar, we're going to get that from our producer. And I will throw that in the mix for you to end the show. But Utku, I just wanted to thank you again for coming through and talking with us today. And Paribu Ventures, very excited about what you guys got cooking. We're definitely going to have you back to let us in on some alpha. But I just wanted to say thanks again, man. This has been great.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Man. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for.
We'll see you soon,
invitation.
so that we get
I hope
some
so.
alpha.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Right.
man. Definitely. Thanks for the kind
Bye.
words. We will see you very soon, Utku. Take care.
Peace.
Bye.
See you soon.